Okay, welcome everyone. Sorry for the wait. I have some technical issues, but we're now here. So welcome everyone. Now we have this amazing and great interview. Now we're waiting for it, and now we have it. So thank you, Bill and Bob, for being here. So hope we're you're joining this. So welcome everybody again,
Thank
and
you.
thank you again for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, hello, and thank you for having us.
Thanks to you guys for your time. So, well, let's start. Again, thank you for everything you made for this amazing show that is the Ghost and Molly McGee. We are all fans of this amazing show. So, thank you to you and all the crew for your amazing job in this amazing show.
Thank you to everybody out there who watched and supported the show. We had a
Yeah.
great time making it, and we're thrilled that people are embracing it and loving it still.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, fans all over the world, from Mexico, from Argentina, from the United States, for Europe, for other parts of the world, with love and happiness.
yay, great.
Yeah.
So let's start, guys. So, what are your thoughts about right now that the end show, but all the support that you have on this period when the show was live, and now that it's end? How do you feel? What you're doing right now? So, what you can tell about it?
Do you want to start, Bob?
You go ahead. You start.
Um, well, first of all, I have to say that making the show was just the highlight of our career, and I think that the show was very much what Bob and I had been trying to do for a very long time in the work we've done. We wanted to put something into the world that was hopeful and joyful and could be a lot of fun to watch, but also maybe be a little helpful and informative in how to navigate the challenges of life. And of course, we were quite sad when the show didn't continue beyond a second season. But we were grateful for a couple things. One, Disney was really gracious, even after that decision was made, to allow us to finish the series the way we wanted to. We had a definite ending in mind, and they allowed us to conclude the show the way we wanted to. And the other thing that's been really amazing is the fan response. We get letters and social media being reached out on about how the show has impacted people and their life. I think things like the fans did Operation Enhappification to raise money for charity. And there's currently you could do the June plush.
June plush, eternallydead.com. Go order one. They're adorable, and all the proceeds go to autism awareness. So,
Yeah, I love it.
fantastic cause.
Yeah. So, and I think for Bob and I mean, obviously we would have loved to have been making the show for years to come.
Yeah.
But I think what's really important for us is that the legacy of the show is seen in the fans. How the fans not only have continued to sort of talk about the show, but more importantly, how the values of enhappifying your family, friends, your community, world, that they're living that out, and
they're embracing Molly's altruism, which
that is
we couldn't
more than we could have hoped. Yeah.
A lot of people get together to watch the show with their family on Saturday morning, I think. So it was very amazing to watch it, the people, the kids, and also the enthusiastic and also the positive feelings that Molly have, but also Scratch helping her, but also Livy and all the characters that the show have. It was really amazing. So also all the fandom around the world is amazing. Also, we talk about the plushie of June. So also the fandom have a lot of creativity. So they make a lot of stuff, pins, stickers, plush, a lot of things, right? So that's like a really show works. I think it's not only the show, us around the show, the people, but also the crew and everything work on it.
Yeah.
It's how they're engaging with it. I mean, we were so impressed by the what is it? The map, is that what they call it? With multiple animators making sort of a tribute. I mean, a lot of fan art that's just incredible. And as you say, I mean, around the world, it's a global community. We love the fan, I mean, the plushies, right? These are, made, through fan. And I also thank you, Alex, also mentioning that families have watched the show together. And I think that was really our hope, was we wanted to create conversation with parents and their kids. Some of the episodes are challenging, especially like the episode where the McGees lost their house. And I think that deals with some really strong economic realities for a lot of people. And maybe it's a way for parents and kids to have some, tricky conversations, but, framed in a kind of fun starter.
We both grew up as Disney kids. We don't run from the Disney brand. We ran toward it and embraced it. And the notion that families are watching the show as families really is a bullseye for what we were trying to achieve. So again, that's incredibly gratifying to hear.
Yep.
Yeah, and they touch a lot of topics, right? You have tales like the house, but also, love and expressions, but also, friends, social medias, I think, what conversations happen over there. A lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, so I think a lot of that is supposed to be, our hope was, that the episode is the beginning of a conversation with your family. It's the starting point.
Yeah, it really helps, right? Another point of view also with the kids, watching an anime show, like another way to see the things that are hard to say in their circle family, and it helps, right? Friendship also is a very important thing. The TV show, the series was between COVID-19 pandemic, so a lot of kids watched it in that period, also before, after.
A lot of it was made in that period.
That's
hard times, but also some they can forget about all the stuff was happening out there, and watching it every Saturday, and another kind of life changing it. So I know a lot of people enjoy watching it in their sofa, eating popcorns or lollipops or scratch lollipop. So
good. That scratches me, please. I'll say that it's a two-way street. Like, people out there, especially in the middle of the pandemic, took great solace in the show and found things to make them happy. The crew likewise found in the show something like, we all found purpose in this silly little show, and the crew worked incredibly hard to make something joyful. And that was not easy at a time when it was easy to despair.
Right. And we also have like a lot of stuff of Molly McGee, we'll like more stuff in the future. But we had, the theme song takeover. I think we also have the shorts, the chibi bears, and everything. So we really have a really good time with Molly McGee and friends. So we would like to have more stuff. I don't know what's happening in the next years, but
we'll be as surprised as you guys. So
right. So my next question is going about, the challenges that you face creating this series, everything that, before having the green light of Disney to approve, and, the show being on Disney Channel, but also, the creative process with all the crew, and then putting in the show in the TV and think what is going to happen next, right? The people will watch it, Disney Plus will have good numbers. I don't know what you can tell about it.
Well, I would say that the development takes a very long time, as you probably are aware of, in animation. So I think we were developing the show for 2 years-ish?
Well, I mean, 2 years officially, and then there was like another dozen years before that where we
had the original idea and pitched it around. So you spent a lot of time and making a lot of different iterations of your pilot to get it to the point where the studio decides to greenlight the project.
Right.
And then once it was greenlit, we jumped in. I feel like this is true of every production at every studio everywhere, but you always sort of, once you're actually greenlit, you're already behind schedule, so you have to kind of to jump in quick and fast.
And in a weird way, the show redevelops at that point. Like you've spent 2 years working out every last little detail.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that's all theoretical. Now you're on the road, the rubber hits the road, and you're driving 100 miles per hour in this production truck, and it's veering all over the road, and you've got to kind of, in a half state of panic, steer it back onto the road and not hit anything else, avoid the potholes. Well, I'm really straining this analogy, but you know, that's sort of the blind panic of once the show's been greenlit, you find out what really the show is.
Yeah, and we, you know, we had music, we had songs in our pilot, but we didn't really think this show was going to have music in every episode. And so that was one of those things that as we kind of jumped into production, we kind of quickly realized that music just needed to be front and center in the show and to really bring it.
Thank God for Rob Cantor.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you know, maybe, I don't know, it's the time, but also, you know, the pressure and everything to run, to have everything on time, and then, you know, I don't know, in that case.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, then it's a once you're greenlit, you have to quickly ramp up. So that means you've got to hire your crew.
Find your crew.
And, you know, I mean, I don't know, what is it, Bob? 60-ish people, probably?
I mean, we had 2 to 3 directors. We started with 2 and quickly realized we need 3.
Right.
We had Dave Knott as our supervising director. Each director had 2 or 3 board artists under them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's the
revisionist board artists, you know,
character designers. We had 2 or 3 of those at any given moment.
You know,
Justin Rodriguez
and you know,
everybody under the art
and color design, and you know, all sorts of areas of skill. Then you have technical directors and people who are kind of dealing with it from a very digital
right
view.
And then it's a rolling thing. So you know, you start with recording the actors, working with the voice director, and then you know it's moving to board artists, and then it's going to animatic editors.
Yeah.
So at any given point, more and more people are coming onto the show. It's a rolling process.
Yeah, exactly.
Sound mixing, you know, that's towards the end.
Yeah, and then because of COVID, we shipped our very first episode to Mercury Animation in Canada 2 weeks after the lockdown happened. So a whole lot of our staff we didn't meet in person.
Yeah,
it was.
Some people still haven't met in person.
I mean, this was actually I mean, what we're doing right now is very much like how a lot of the show was made, just having these kind of conversations, and there were a lot of technical challenges too. You know, making sure that everyone's equipment was compatible. The software that they were using was on the same version, so it could talk to each other. You know, just a lot of that. So, you know, it was a tricky lift to start in those extreme circumstances. But on the positive side, I think because we were sort of screened like this, it made everyone would have their little tile on the screen.
Right.
And as we were looking at artwork or having conversations, it kind of made everyone feel like that they were equally present in the conversation, if that makes sense, as opposed to the conference room where everyone's sort of jammed in the conference room, and some people are seated at the table and some are chairs against the wall, and you know, whatever. It really kind of made it so you could really see people on their faces and really have a good connection.
Yeah, maybe, you know, working from home in that period, and also, you know, getting together to work on all this stuff, and then creating something, you know, be hard for you, and it was, I think it was. So, you know, I know this pandemic changed a lot of us, and the way we're working right now, animation is working after COVID. That's the way we have doing this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it changed a lot of production, and there were pluses and minuses for sure.
Yeah.
Some things I actually think we found we preferred doing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You take the best of all your situations and make better practices. So, and then I guess to your question of what now after the show, Bob and I have been pitching things at different places. There's a couple things that we kind of have some interest in that we can't talk about, but
wish we could.
Yeah,
it'll be completely different than Molly. It's going to be super fun. That's all we can say.
So another stuff, completely different, working on things. And also I know you're getting like rest from all the job you have been doing for a long time, and then in the share relaxing in house or maybe vacations. I don't know.
Well, here's the funny thing. We always, because it takes so long to get anything going, and you got to get paid. So, we kind of hit from as soon as the show ended for us. We were actually, even before that, we were even working on pitches and projects and writing.
We've written a couple pilots that nobody seems to be interested in making right now, but
yeah, and that's just
we're still trying.
Yeah. And the next question is going about where'd you get the idea from the Ghost and Molly McGee come from? I know you get ideas from another part of TV shows, another anime series. I don't know for where, but what you can tell us about it.
Hey, it's a really hard question because I know we conceived of it like we're coming up on 20 years at this point.
It's close to
So what the exact spark was, but I don't know. But I'll say I'm sure it came out of something like this, and these things always do. When you sit down to conceive a show, that's when it's the hardest. When you're at the grocery store looking at watermelons and saying, no, this one doesn't seem right, and this one seems a little, no, this one doesn't, these bananas aren't ripe enough. That's when lightning will strike, and you're like, oh my God, there's a show.
Wow.
So
the way I recall it is that, Bob, you were away on a vacation or something, and you came back and you said something like, I had an idea for a show, and it was the spark of it was the curse scene in the very first episode.
That is very true, yeah.
And that was the idea, and then it was a count. It wasn't a ghost. It was almost like a Dracula kind of character. And it wasn't in a house. They had gone on vacation to a castle. Right, or something,
right, yeah,
in like Scotland or something. Anyway, but so
Molly, the notion of a girl who cursed a ghost, he put a curse on her and wound up stuck with her forever.
That was the germ of that.
Was always there.
And so we kind of carried that with us, and it shaped. But for us, it was part of it in the development process was the realization that Molly and Scratch are a little like Bob and I, and so that we sort of could realize I tend to be an over optimistic magical thinker, and Bob can be I'm also an extrovert. Bob's a little more of an introvert, and could be tend toward being a little bit of a misanthrope at times, and but what we realized with our friendship was we were actually stronger together. Right. And so we kind of wanted, it's not that Scratch is wrong and Molly is right. They both are wrong and both are right at different times on different things, but it's really about their relationship and how they connect and navigate life together that makes them strong. So that was what was fun for us.
Right. So that's the thing, a lot of the sparks, a lot of the stars, a little happiness and right out there. And also, my question, you believe in ghosts? You believe in paranormal things?
I am not a believer, no. I need to believe rock solid proof. I've never seen a ghost. I don't believe people who have.
And I tend to I tend to be skeptically open-minded. So I tend to be like, I don't know. But on the other hand, I think of the Shakespeare quote of "There are more things in heaven and earth that are dreamt of in your philosophy." So I tend to be open that there may be more going on than I necessarily think.
Right. And also, what about Brighton? What you can tell us about Brighton? You know, it's a little town with a lot of fruits, and but also I know the little stuff, the stores. How do you get inspired in that on your little town?
Well, Brighton kind of came from Bill's hometown and my grandparents' hometown. Bill's hometown of Rock Island, Illinois, and my grandparents' hometown of Towanda, Pennsylvania, are both small towns that have been kind of hollowed out by capitalism, unfortunately. Corporations have come and kind of strip mined those towns and sort of left them, with nothing but shells of what they used to be. So we thought that was an interesting place to put an optimist, right? Like, because she's going to be here to help this town rebuild itself,
right?
And
rise from the ashes of the companies that abandoned it and whatever. So
So in my hometown, I mean, it's in the show. There used to be a tractor factory, right? And that's what ends up becoming the windmill factory for wind power. And in my hometown, it really was a tractor factory that employed just a significant portion of the population. And even if it didn't do it directly, it was all the sort of supporting industries, that were around it. And so when they closed the tractor factory, it devastated my hometown. And they've spent, that was in the, mid 80s, I think, by the time it finally completely closed. And it has been struggling to kind of regain its footing. But there are a lot of optimists in my town who keep thinking about, here's how we can reinvent ourselves. Here's how we can move forward. So it was taking some cues from those kind of folks who see, not just look back at how the good old days of how things were, but just look at
Molly's very first line in the show, where says, what I see here? Opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. Lots of potential. And so I think that's definitely the it's that spirit that a lot of communities are struggling with, right? Because there's always changes. But I think people can be pretty inventive, and if they're hopeful. And
that's kind of what we wanted to do with the show. We wanted to model that for kids out there to see, like, hey, my hometown may be struggling. Here's what I can do to help out. We want to empower those kids.
Right.
So, every town have their own curiosities and all their stuff, right? Everyone's have, the little store out there, the Christmas celebration, or the tree, or I don't know, the festivities that I always do on summer. So I know you put them then, like, the little details in the show that we can see them, like some similarities to the real world, but also, in the United States and California, I think. But every town have their own soul, but also the specific things they do that are important for everyone, right?
Yeah. And we tried to reflect that. Everything from, what was it that Andrea was sad she could be the snowflake
queen, the turnip festivals. A lot of the turnip stuff came from Madison Bateman, our story editor.
Right.
She grew up on a turnip farm and hated turnips her whole life. So
but those ideas, those celebrations, and I think
every town has one version of it.
Yeah.
And it gives it a sense of being a real place.
Right. And also, talking about Andrea, do you have like a favorite episode, like the Snowflakes celebration, or a scene that you particularly liked?
I like the what was the title of the social media one we did in the second season? Trying to reinvent herself.
Davenport's and Demise.
Davenport's and Demise. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I think that's that idea of, so we're talking to a global audience, right? And research coming out too of how anxiety and depression has really increased globally. since front-facing cameras on smartphones, right? Because I think there's so much that about how we interact on our social media platforms that is very competitive. We all give a curated version of ourselves, so you're only seeing our best of our lives, right. And that makes people feel like I'm not catching up, I'm not doing so well, or I have to present myself a certain way. And what we wanted to say with that episode was Andrea has a perception about herself being, you know, affluent and popular and all these sort of things. And when that starts going away, it really starts an honest soul searching of who am I really authentically? What is my core? And sort of discovering her different skills and talents.
Yeah, you know, everyone have like high talents, right? Maybe, for example, Andrea trying to make an app or a website, or Molly doing a lot of stuff that I don't know if she doesn't know how to do it, or maybe not, but she always tries to do it, even though she doesn't know how to do it. Yeah,
exactly. So.
That was sort of the can-do magic of Molly. Like she didn't stop. I don't know. She didn't stop at, well, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
She would keep going, even if when it wasn't the wisest.
Yes.
And in the case with Livy, for example, how did the idea come up with being Argentine and Jewish? I know it was Jewish and Argentine. And also playing, you know, in the school and Argentinian Appreciation Day with the instrument. How did it came up?
From our Disney executive, our point executive, Doug Ben-Simone, who is Argentinian Jewish. So he like, well, that's such a fun, unique, off the beaten path character trait. Do you mind if we use that? And he was like, no, I'd be incredibly flattered. And that's the origin of Libby's background.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it was something we kind of had realized, and it was kind of fun to see it play out. Actually, was the more specific you could be about a character trait, oddly enough, the more universal it became. It seems counterintuitive, but people could see, well, I'm not this, but I'm this, and I identify with, you know, those kind of feelings. So it was we thought it was kind of fun to be that specific, and didn't realize how it would actually connect with an audience. Quite strongly.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, for us, for example, here in Latin America, they explode with that episode with Livy, you know, talking about Argentina, also with his knowing his father, and then he was leaving. A lot of kind of episode, but you know, every people was talking about on social media, on Twitter, about they tell about Argentina. So it was Argentina on Twitter with Molly McGee. So it was all the stuff, the people talking about Molly and all the show. So it was a good reception of people with that episode here in Latin America. They really love that they talk about Argentina also.
Yeah, well, good.
Happy to hear it.
Yes.
And delighted to hear it. Yeah.
And the thing is that the dubbing here on Latin America is from Argentina. So a lot of creators, you know, they're like, oh my God, they're talking about us.
Good.
Super.
Yeah, and talking about dubbing, I don't know if you know the other actor film on Latin America. So I don't know what you think about dubbing in the case in the show with other languages, for example, in Spanish or from Argentina or from Europe, Italian or another language.
I mean, I think it's one of the things that's fun for us, because we are not a part of choosing what the dubbing cast is.
Right.
So that is a kind of a surprise.
We barely speak English. So asking us to comment on an actor in German makes no sense.
Right. So, but what I think is interesting is, so we see it when kind of it gets released, you know, and what I think is interesting is sort of how much it captures the spirit of Molly and the spirit of Scratch and the other characters. That it's a very, very tricky thing for the dubbing artist to have to do, because they have to sort of, the animation has already been crafted to how, you know, Dana and Ashley did their performances, and they have to also fit the cadence English, but in Spanish or Portuguese or whatever is the language, and that's it's a really hard thing to do, and I think it's an underappreciated skill that that the dubbing artists do to sort of make the show come alive in the language of the audience.
Right. Yeah, I really love the dubbing, and also I always listen to the show in English and Spanish, also to improve my English skills. But also I think watching the show in both languages is more like I can feel the emotions of the people that are doing the voices of the characters. Even though it's in Spanish or English, I think also the songs, it's very hard to dub. And I've been dubbing a song, for example, there are a lot of songs here on the show. So, it's like hearing the songs in Spanish and then in English, like, wow, they almost like sound the same. And then getting like, wow, the emotions are almost the same. So it really helps, but it's also very cool to know which are the actors of those countries of dubbings languages, and that's really amazing. I know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then after that you have the really big fandom and all the stuff that I create every day. I was telling you before starting this, the splashes and everything. So what do you think about that? The audience is growing up, and then you have all this stuff, no official, but it's like the creativity that the fandom has around the world, creating a lot of stuff.
I'm blown away by it, especially the plushies, but all of it. The fan artwork. Still dip in occasionally to take a look at some of that. Pins, stickers, yeah.
Plushies, I love it.
It's all Molly and Scratch belong to the fans now, so I'm delighted to see them run down the road with them and make even more stuff, because Disney really did not. So
yeah, here in Latin America we don't have a lot of stuff from official stuff. Well, I know there's for Amazon only shirts, I think.
But this is the only official.
Right.
Here it is.
There's plushies from another sites that I really love. I want some stuff for my birthday that is coming the next week, so maybe I want to buy some stuff.
Happy
birthday. Thank you. From Molly McGee show. So yeah, I love the fans that are creating a lot of things every day. I'm still, the show is still over. They're making a lot of stuff, even though like the June's plushie and everything that is coming out.
Right.
Well, I think to Bob's point too about how the show now belongs to the fans is, we have what we were intending to do for season 3, and a lot of that has already been sort of leaked out there onto the internet. So if you want to know the specifics of what we were going to do, that's easy to find. But the show has been completed. So where the characters go now, and really, the fans get to choose, right?
Their opinions on what the show is and who the characters are and what they would do next, they're just as valid as ours at this point. So
so so I would say have fun with your imaginations, and because now Molly and Scratch and their friends live on in the imaginations and talents of our fan base. And
I love everything about the creativity fan. We're going to start ending this interview. I know you have a busy agenda, so before ending, I want to say thank you for everyone. I know there are a lot of questions, so we're going to do only one question before ending. So there are a lot of people asking about, Andrea being part of the crew with Livy, with Molly, with Ollie. So I don't know if you can tell us anything about it with Andrea being part of the crew.
I would say, I would reiterate the answer Bill just gave of, Andrea belongs to the fans now. So if the fans feel like she would become a ghost friend, then she's a ghost friend. And it doesn't matter what we say about it.
Because it's not gonna happen. and I think that I have to say though, I love the fact that our casts, I should say, because so many, the dubbing cast as well as the board artists and animators who brought the characters to life, and our writers, obviously, that the characters have resonated enough with people that they want to know what happens to them.
Right.
And I love that. I love that they're, Andrea and Libby are real to people in a sense, that they are emotionally invested in them. And again, if it makes you happy that Andrea is a ghost friend and how that all works, yes, and then let's see it, and let's see how, put your fan work up there, and
you tell us how it works.
You tell us exactly. That's fine because now we are also audience.
Yeah, the fandom have a lot of doubts and everything, but I know the answer will be that you're saying that the show now is part of the fans, so they will have a lot of ideas and everything about the show now that it's said. And well, before ending, thank you, Bill and Bob, for being here, for giving me the
thank you for having us.
To the people that is here, and maybe we'll watch it after this or in the future. Before saying goodbye, there's anything that you would like to say to the Ghost and Molly McGee fans for all over the world and for Latin America fandom?
Sure. Keep happifying. Like, keep the show's is coming to an end. It's already come to an end for us. It's coming to an end for you guys. But keep the message of the show with you, and live it and act it in your everyday lives, and happify people wherever you go.
Yeah. Well said, Bob.
So cool. So everyone, thank you so much for being here. I know there are a lot of questions that we would like to make it, but we have much time. So I hope we'll have another time in the future if you're okay with that doing in the future again.
Sure.
In the future,
of course.
Okay. So well, again, thank you to you and everyone from all the crew for doing amazing this show. So we're very grateful. We really love to see Molly McGee and Scratch Adventures with Libby and everyone. So again, really grateful with everyone that worked on this amazing show from all the Latin America fandom. Also, we're talking about all the fandom around the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so goodbye everyone. Hope you're doing. Have a really, really good evening. So we're going to see you again. Hope to see you again soon. So goodbye, people. Goodbye.
Goodbye.